Okay. I will call to order the Thursday, January 18th meeting of the trustees of trust funds. And for the record, we'll take a roll call. Those in attendance are on Zoom. And the gentleman to my right,
Here.
Mr. Weeks is here, and on Zoom.
Dana Levinson here.
Okay, and the chair is here. First item is the approval of the minutes of the December 14th meeting.
So move.
Second.
Any corrections, additions, deletions? Hearing none, we'll call the question. We need to take a roll call. All in favor, starting with Peter,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Next item is the annual election of the chair.
I move that we nominate Tom Watson for another year as chair.
Do we hear a second?
Excellent nomination, and I'm proud to second.
We'll dispense with the nominating speeches. Do we hear any other nominations? Hearing none, I'll close the nominations, and all in favor, starting with Peter,
Yes.
Dana,
Yes.
and the chair votes yes. Okay, the Mortimer Trust. So you got two items in your materials. The first is a letter to the principal of Portsmouth High School that I prepared and circulated last week, specifically with the intent of, I guess, confirming as a matter of record the changes that took place with respect to the Mortimer Trust because of both the large bequest from Bill's estate and because of the non-judicial settlement agreement we concluded back in December. And particularly the part I highlighted, which was notice to the school department that when they're issuing awards going forward, they need to plan for multi-year awards so that they don't essentially short-circuit someone who was in his second, third, or fourth year of college. So I got that out there for your review. Now, I happened to talk with Peter on some unrelated stuff, and he mentioned that he had met with members of the department, including the principal, and had gone over some of these items.
That happened because in our last meeting, felt it necessary to talk to Brittany to make sure that she was aware of what was going on. So I went up to the high school, and it's different than it used to be. You can't get into the school without a pass to be admitted. So they brought Brittany up, and I happened to see this gentleman walking around the hallway, and I said to the receptionist, "Is that the high school principal?" And she said, "Yes." I said, "Well, let's bring him in too, because he should know what's going on." And by the way, Dana, you're a Clipper. The principal is now called captain.
What's that?
He's the captain of the ship.
Uh-huh.
And the students refer to him as the captain. So we had a nice conversation, and he loves Portsmouth, loves the school. And it was very excited to hear that the scholarship had been increased by over $1 million. And so one of the things that I know, Danny, you were concerned with, and I met with Brittany on, is to get a write-up so the people understand what the Mortimer Scholarship is. And so that when they advertise in the book, and by the way, Brittany is there, but she will be leaving again. She's going to have another child. So she'll be here through the application process, but will not be here for the awards. So I told her that I would bring something to the trustees as a kind of a history of the Mortimer scholarships. And once the trustees have reviewed it, I would bring it to her so she can include it. They don't do a printed pamphlet anymore, Dana. They just update online, and so that's how the
Yeah.
students do it. So I put together this draft just so that people would understand who Bill was and, you know, what his intent was. And then after I sent that out, I got Tom's thing, and which I think that both things are important for the school department to know about. So
Well, let's take them one at a time. So did you have any thoughts, corrections, improvements on the letter to the principal?
Your letter, Tom?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I thought you covered all the bases.
Okay, anything about it, Peter?
One of the things that says substantiate the need for financial assistance, is that actually in the trust?
That's, those items there are right out of the language of the trust.
Okay.
All right, well, if that looks good, I'd entertain a motion that we approve and send this letter out.
Yeah, and I'd be happy to deliver it when I meet with Brittany.
Okay. So,
So move.
all right, do I hear a second?
Yes, there is a second.
Okay. So, all in favor again by roll call, Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. And anticipating a positive vote, I've actually asked Judy to prepare this letter ready for signature with a date, so Peter and I can sign it now. Would you give us permission to sign your name, Dana, instead of having to send it to you and send it back? Or would you prefer?
Yes, yeah, absolutely, that's fine.
Okay, all right, well, so we'll do that before we leave today.
Okay.
And then next is Peter's draft of the description, I guess is what I call it, of the trust for the students. I have one comment on it, but I'll ask Dana whether you have any thoughts or comments on the proposal.
No, I don't.
All right, so the one comment I had on is in the first paragraph where it refers to William and Irene Mortimer setting up 2 scholarships during their lifetime. And that's technically inaccurate because Irene passed away in the late 90s. And the first of these was, of the scholarship funds, was established in 2006.
After you mentioned that to me, my suggestion would be that it say the Mortimers set up 2 scholarships during their lifetime. Because she was alive when the first one was done, and she was very much a part, and, you know, always discussing. She was always very much a part of this, so.
Yeah, but I'm not sure that she was alive, though, was she? During the first one?
Well, but when he set it up in both their names.
No, clearly both of them are set up in each of their in both their names. It's just that, you know, I'm pretty sure that she passed away in 1996 or 97, and the oldest of these trusts is dated 2006. I'm just trying to avoid inaccuracy.
Yeah. You could say 2 scholarships were set up in the name of William and Irene Mortimer. And don't even say during their lifetimes. I mean, that was his intent.
Well, how about if we say that William Mortimer set up 2 trusts in the name of
That's fine.
his spouse and him,
That's fine.
something like that. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. That sound good to you, Dana?
Yeah.
Okay.
Good.
All right. Other thoughts or comments on this? All right, then, subject to that change, I'll entertain a motion that we approve and distribute this to the high school.
So move.
I'll second.
Okay. Any other comments? Hearing none, we'll do a roll call. All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And chair votes yes. So we'll sign the first one and give it to you, and you can make the change of this one
Yeah.
when you get home.
Yes.
And then you'll take care of
I'll
delivery.
take care of delivering them, both of them.
Excellent.
Hey, Peter, I just noticed on the last paragraph, next to last line, the typo on the word available.
And scholarships
Yeah.
as well.
You know,
Available.
Yeah. And then scholarships as well
Yeah, there's
afterwards.
an R missing in scholarships.
I have found when you do capital letters, that word check doesn't, spell check doesn't
It doesn't?
recognize it.
Interesting.
Well, you might want to spell check this again so
Yeah.
you don't become a part of the English class over at the high school. All right, thank you. Next item is the scholarship awards for 2024.
Would you like the bigger printout?
I would, because this is a challenge to me.
There's a challenge.
Judy,
Peter, I'm impressed.
To you could, guess I have to go out and buy some legal paper. I'm trying to avoid legal paper.
This is the really big picture.
Thank you very much.
I'm gonna try that one. You're welcome to.
still, I think, Judy, when you do the trustees' budget for next year, you ought to include magnifying glasses.
Okay, we can do that, Peter.
You want to walk us through this, Judy?
Sure. So what we have here is the proposed award amounts for 2024 for the scholarships to present over to the high school. The first column is, of course, the name of the funds. The second column is the book value of the fund as of June 2023, which is the time that we file with the State Attorney General's office. The next column is the percent of that scholarship fund of the total investment amount. And then the third column is the fair market value of the funds as of December 31st, 2023. So that's the most recent numbers that we have. And then the income available per the state on the MS9 is the amount of income that was earned that is available to be spent without dipping into the principal. So, because we do have some of the older scholarships specifically state you can only issue the amount up until the income earned, and you're not allowed to use the principal. So that's why that column is there, just so that everybody's aware of what the income was that's available to be spent.
And just for clarification, the items that are in red and blue,
The items in red are, those are hardcore set numbers. The Carrie McHale, as we know, scholarship, that scholarship, the Carrie's mother would like that to be completed at the end of this year, so we need to spend or issue out the full amount that's available. And with the Ron Scholarship, per the Attorney General's office, we're supposed to be issuing $10,000 until that is spent out as well. So that one's set at 10,000. So I highlighted those in red just so that they stand out, and we know that those are on their way of being terminated. The ones in
Well,
blue.
let me just
Yep.
ask you on the McHale one.
Yep,
So that's the amount available per the MS9, but there's been increases since that MS9 has occurred.
right. So what we usually do, though, is we base the award off of the MS9 number. So any increases will not be flowed into that account. So basically, that's kind of put in hiatus now, and we'll spend the amount that's there, so there'll be no further increments, and that money will be distributed between the other scholarships. I don't know how else to do it, otherwise we're always going to have a balance.
Well, no, I guess
Yep.
is there any reason why we can't just put an asterisk next to this one and when you tell the high school
Oh.
and distribute whatever's in the McHale one as of June when the checks go out or
Yes,
something?
yes, I can do that.
Well, that would be more consistent with her mother's intent.
Okay, yes, we can do that.
That make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead on the blue one.
Okay, and the blue ones, by the trust, those amounts are set for the awards. So Russ Wilson, for example, the award says in 2024, it's $2,000. 2025, it goes down to $1,000. So those awards are set per the trusts themselves. So there's no wiggle room really as far as how much we're supposed to award. That's the amount per the trust that we're supposed to award.
Okay.
Okay? So, and then the next column over is what was awarded in fiscal year '23. So you can see what was given out in fiscal year '23. And then the column after that, highlighted yellow in the top, is my suggestions for 2024, but you are certainly welcome, obviously, to go through, and if there's anything that you have questions on or don't agree with something or would like to change something, we can certainly talk about that. I did put on the very first one the Horace Haven medals. Every year, we give them an amount to award, but they don't have anyone to really award that out to. So, we've done 250, 250, 500. I put 500. Do we put 0? I don't know, because literally they haven't awarded them in the whole time I've been here.
Well, they have to earn them.
What do
Is
they
that
have
what
to
it-
do?
It's a scholastic
Okay.
achievement.
Yeah.
Okay.
4 years of excellence in English.
So leave it at the 500 for now, or,
Yeah.
okay, all right.
If it's like anything else, if
If they're there, they're there. If not,
someone doesn't actually follow through and go to college, and that money comes back, and
the other one that I've highlighted the Bartlett Awards. I looked at that scholarship. In the past, we've awarded $600 for first place and $300 for second place. I'm proposing to take that to $800 for first place and $400 for second place, because we have the funds. It's really $600 and $300 isn't that much. So if we have the funds, I looked, and it's not set. It's up to the trustees' discretion. I would like to make the suggestion that we raise it, but it's up to you.
yeah, no, that makes sense. Is there significance between the blue and the green?
Well, the green ones are the ones that I kind of highlighted out to make sure I spoke to you about. So
Okay, all right.
the McHale we've spoken about. The Margison Award, I have been notified by the legal department that the individual that used to put in every year the $2,500 for the award is no longer going to be doing that. So we will no longer be receiving the $2,500 from the donor. And so Per the trust, once that happens, once they decide, and actually it was supposed to happen back in 2015, so we continued it on for quite a while, then we're supposed to start spending down the principal at that point until the trust is gone. So I have put the 2,500, but it's no longer going to be, we're going to start to see that principal amount start to go down.
Okay.
Hey, Judy?
Yes.
Excuse me, is the Bartlett Award, is it predetermined that it's only 2 awards?
Yes.
Or is there a possibility of a third?
It is 2 awards per the trust.
It's the winner and runner-up, Dana.
Yeah, and I believe they have to write a speech or something.
They have to write a speech and give it at baccalaureate.
Yeah, so, yeah.
Okay,
good.
I'm fine.
Yeah. And then the Tony Ron we've talked about.
Yep.
And then all the ones highlighted, I just wanted to make sure that everyone understood that those were set amounts.
Right.
And then the other ones, I didn't highlight them, but I'd like to visit the Mortimer amounts with you to make sure that
Yeah.
I'm doing what you all want me to do with that.
I have a question on that, Judy.
Yeah,
And I could support what you're recommending.
okay.
For this year. Because in meeting with Brittany, there's only one renewal because they've only, so this year, they can give out new ones plus the one renewal.
Yes.
That should cover it. Now, my question, I asked Tom, and he didn't have the answer, but he said you would. We'll say that we allocate next year $40,000.
Okay.
And they don't use it all because they're only the second year. Can it be reallocated the following year?
Yes.
It can.
Yes.
Okay. Because, I think what you put in for this year, but in the future,
You might need more.
yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know where we come up with the 2.5% of the.
That's just really it's really, I'm not basing 2.5, I'm just letting you know that's what it came out to this year is 2.5%. What I really follow, because I don't want to have any issues with the state,
Yep.
is I follow that MS9 number, and then I look at the trust to say, can we spend principal on that trust, or do we only have the income to spend?
Yep.
That way I don't want any of it
Right.
to have the issue with the Attorney General's office. So, but yes, Peter, and what I can do and what I was planning on doing is kind of keeping my own spreadsheet, because I like to sometimes have my own information of who was awarded for that particular trust, and then whether or not they come in for it.
Yeah.
And then if they don't come in for it, or there's extra money, I'll know that, because I'm going to keep a spreadsheet myself, just so that we know that moving forward.
Yeah, I think, I think this year out of Mortimer, you're recommending 15,000.
And I'm staying within that income bracket too, even though the Mortimer you can spend, but I'm staying within that income bracket.
Yeah, and why is it two different? They're both the same amount.
They weren't originally though. Before the extra amounts that went in were the same, but prior to that, the total amounts were different.
Okay.
The beginning amounts were different.
Okay.
They had more money, I believe, in the second one than the first
They
one, or
did.
vice versa. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, one was up to about 70,000.
Correct,
Yeah.
and the other one was lower than that.
Okay, so that is, so the
That's making the
MS9
differential on
is
here.
only based on the income that it earns.
Yeah, up to date, right, up to
Right.
that point,
And
right.
so next year,
Should be more.
well, it should be. It's going to earn more than.
Well, based on December, let's hope so, because December looked great.
Yeah.
But yes,
We
yes.
really didn't deposit that check until,
And,
March.
no, it was
We got
later
it.
than that.
Yeah.
We
Oh, yeah.
deposited it, but it went into the checking account,
That's
and then
right.
we waited
Yeah.
and made the move over, which
Yeah.
took a little bit longer, yes,
All right, well,
yes.
as
So to
long
answer
as
your
next year, I'm thinking I'd like to see us 30 or 40,000 every year.
I kind of felt that way, but I didn't know for the first year. That's why I put the number in.
Yeah,
And
no, I
said,
think
let's-
that's good because
Yeah.
it'll be kind of a transition
Yeah.
till they get used to, how much. I mean, we don't determine how much the scholarship's going to be,
Yeah.
but based on that, I'm hoping they'd be at least 2,500, but that's up to them.
Yes.
I've been thinking about how they structure this 4-year potential, and when they're planning their budget each year, and if optimally, whatever the number, let's say they would give out 4 scholarships a year.
Yeah.
If she could start the process now of giving them out to people who are in sophomore, junior, and senior in college, then she could have set it up so that there'd only be one freshman who would get it every year, and it would just keep rotating through. So if she knew that there were current college attendants who are graduates of Portsmouth High School who qualify, and was able to give like a senior in college a scholarship this year, then that would open up next year, and you'd have this rotating thing. Now, the problem is that I don't know how, they probably don't publish this to
Right.
people who've already graduated, but just in terms of going forward,
Yeah, and I'm not sure that's what the intent was. I think the intent was more so following a student through their 4 years.
yeah, but the problem with that is that that means you'd almost, if you were going to use all your scholarship money in the first year and you're giving it to the students, then you've got to cut down the amount of each scholarship, or you're going to, as you go forward in subsequent years, somebody's going to have to drop off,
Yeah.
receiving it. So I'm just trying to figure, how do you
Yeah.
bake in a succession plan? And I don't think it can do this year because they don't have a list of
Right.
Right.
people who are out there, but in terms, if somebody graduates,
Let's wait till next year.
yeah, well, it's really up to them to work it out, but that just seems to me a way of addressing that. Other questions about Judy's recommendations?
So my total amount that I'm proposing is a total amount of $271,155 to be awarded. That might fluctuate a tad if we're all in agreement for the Carrie McHale, depending on where that's at the end of June, which is an increase of over $46,000 from last year. So,
Yeah, that's impressive.
The only question I have, Judy,
yes.
and since now you're stuck with me for another 3 years,
That's
Only
okay,
if you go
Peter.
sign in.
I got to go sign in.
Yeah.
I'm still concerned with the list on here on the futures, and still have never gotten to the bottom, and that's my fault.
Okay. Well, we don't award any of the scholarships.
That's right.
Yeah, we don't award that.
I want to look at that to see
Okay,
where it came from.
okay. I'll start digging through the files and see, what I can find.
The problem is, now that the administration of the school department has changed, there's no Steve Zatterbeck, there's no Peter Torrey,
Okay.
having been involved from the beginning, I'm just a little concerned with what that money gets used for or where it came from.
Yeah, it's not
Judy,
usually.
do we have to report the futures on the MS9?
We do. We report our portion of the futures on the MS9. The trustees hold some money, but a lot of that is for administration costs and et cetera. And then there are some scholarships that are awarded out of the funds, but we only hold a portion of it. They hold a portion as well. So the portion that we hold, any money that the trustees hold, every cent has to be reported to the state. So on that MS9, the total amount is every single, it's the checking account, it's everything that we hold. is on that MS9.
So
So
how come you have NA for available income?
we don't determine that, they do. Their board determines how much they're going to give out, and they go to the superintendent. The superintendent signs off saying, this is how much we want you to spend for scholarships for this year. Some years it's $5,000. Some years it's $20,000. It depends on their need. They determine it. It's not something that, they come separately with a whole separate process to award those funds. So technically, it's not something that,
Their ends dictate what goes on our MS9 filing?
That's because the city's holding it.
the city's holding the funds, but they use that money for how they dictate how to use it. Yes.
And a lot of it is the administration of the
A
program.
huge portion of it is the administration.
Of the program,
That
and
is
that's
correct.
something that that portion is no longer with the New Hampshire Charitable. The New Hampshire Charitable holds the majority of the future's scholarship money.
Mm-hmm.
And they,
Do we have any confirmation that what they're doing is following the trust so that we don't get in trouble on
Well-
MS9?
I mean,
that's why I want to look into it, Dana, because it was something that, bless his heart, Joe Sartell set up so that there was money available, so it didn't come out of the school department's budget for the director of the Futures program.
I will say that, I mean, the superintendent, that board signs off on everything. I can tell you that the CLA auditors looked quite intensively at the MS9 and the trustees' filings. They looked at the deposits coming in. I had to provide all the backup for the Mortimer money coming in. They have looked at it. They did not have any flags whatsoever for everything that's currently being done. Now, as Peter said, if there's something that maybe moving forward needs to be adjusted, or he finds something as he wants to look at the futures, that's fine. But I can tell you that as of this date, that everything for the trustees looks fine.
Although it has nothing to do with us, Judy. It was nice to hear the new auditing firm
Yeah.
gave a clean bill of health for the city audit for this year.
Yes,
And after all the controversy going forward,
yes.
and a new auditor, that was nice to hear. So it must have been a lot of hard work.
It was a lot of hard work, and there were a lot of very happy people to hear that, because we, honestly, Peter, you know, the finance team works hard. We believe in what we do, and the city manager and the council were very happy, and so weren't we.
Yeah.
So, thank you. Thank you. So I wrote it down, Peter, and I'll start seeing what I can find, and we can take a look at that for you.
Okay. Other comments or questions on this proposal?
I move the recommendations with a change in the Michaela scholarship if necessary.
Okay,
I will second
all right.
the
Then we'll
motion.
take a roll call. All in favor? Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
The chair votes yes. Thank you. Good job, Judy.
Great, thank you.
All right, next item is the TD investment reports. Anything you want to add to these, Judy?
I will say, I think that we have, as of December, hit our highest amount.
Ever, yes.
Ever, yes,
Yes,
yes.
yeah. Now, if 24 will be as good as 23,
Yeah,
we'll be living in clover.
yeah.
So the second column on there,
Which sheet are you looking at?
year-to-date
Dashboard-
performance.
The dashboard
Dashboard,
report. yep.
okay. Yes,
All of them exceeded 18%?
That's what they are saying. Yeah,
Okay.
that's what they, yep, that's their finding. But if we look at the numbers back in December of '22, you know, I mean, we were at 18 million, we're at 23 million this
Yeah.
year. So, well, I mean,
But-
we had some influx of cash,
Yeah.
agreed,
Yeah.
yes.
We know of $1 million that came in. so-
Correct. Million, it's probably about 1.4 million that ended up being
and then we
brought
had
in.
some withdrawals.
McKean,
Yep.
and we had, you know, 1 or 2 withdrawals, so yes. Not too shabby.
Okay, any other questions regarding the TD reports? Thank you very much. Judy?
Yep, I do have a question regarding TD, though.
Sure.
Am I supposed to be scheduling with them in February to discuss the year-end findings? And should I be doing that via Zoom or
Well,
in person?
I don't have my notes in front of me on that, but we agreed we do 2 in person and 2 via Zoom.
Right.
And what I don't remember is which one the February falls in there. Probably,
I mean, we just had an in-person, but if you want them in person, that's, I can make the
they made it
request.
sound like they were happy to come whenever we wanted, but
Okay,
we were just doing the split as an accommodation, particularly for Suzanne, who's flying up from DC.
correct.
Does it matter whether this one is, the February one is a Zoom or in person?
Well, you're not going to be here in February anyway, Dana, right?
No,
No, I'm not.
So,
So let's do it as a Zoom,
okay,
you know, and then we'll do the summer one, or the spring one via live.
live, okay. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Got any checks for us to sign
I
today?
have, yes, 5 scholarship checks.
This person must be studying wine because that's what that college is known for.
I did not see the itinerary.
Yeah. Maybe we ought to personally inspect the school to make
There
sure
you
it
go, now you're
qualifies.
talking.
University of Utah.
And most of these, just so you know, are for the Tony Ron Scholarship, which is they have to complete their first semester before they can come in for it, so
Right.
that's the bulk of these. I think 4 out of the 5 are for that.
University of Utah.
Thank you very much.
All right, any new business before I open it up for public comment? Hearing none from either item, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Do we have-
Second.
Okay. And because we have to do it, we'll do it via roll call. Peter?
Yes.
Dana?
Yes.
And the chair votes yes. Thank you very much, gentlemen.